What's up? I'm Jared Welch. That.
Hello. How is everybody?
Did you just break something?
No.
Oh man, it sounded like there was a crash on your end. I'm Jared Welch. He's here.
No.
Yeah, Halterman is in the attic. He's struggling. What's up, man?
That's odd. No, there was no sound coming from over here. I don't know what that would have been. There's gremlins in our feed, I guess. I swear I didn't do anything.
No, literally. I mean, like it cut me off from from my intro. I was like, oh shit! I think Halter just dropped something off the side. No. What's up?
Well,
here we go.
This could be an interesting night. I guess Halloween come early. There's ghosts or something. Now everything's good. Yeah, another show from Vito's here. Boy, I think the last time I was here for a Blinkers Off may have been, like last Christmas, maybe. So kind of cool to be back here, and yeah, excited for the last week of Breeders' Cup preps to go off here.
Yeah, really. I mean, judging by I know Vito's, it looks like there could be gremlins hiding behind you, no doubt.
I got like a green sign over there. I mean, that's maybe it's attracting them. I'm not sure, not quite sure. I'll get the waitress over here and see what she says about what's going on in this place.
Well, what's going on? You're in New York for a little impromptu trip to New York to see Heather's family, but so no, not Saratoga, obviously, not Belmont, but kind of what's how's it? This is the final weekend this is the final weekend of Breeders' Cup prep. We have one on Wednesday, so regardless of where you're at, you kind of feel like we're finally this is it. This is it, and the preparations. I mean, they have started, but the preparations officially start after their last race. Really, I guess Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy that we're at this point and we're here. And the races this weekend, they're kind of ones where it's kind of iffy who you want to pick, right? Like the Breeders' Cup, like the Turf Mile. The mile is going to be ran at Keeneland for the prep for the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile. Well, that's a race where the winner could come out of here, or we don't really know. It's kind of up in the air. A lot of the juvenile races are still kind of up in the air, and we got races for them as well. The Turf Sprint, there's a nice one that it's not a Breeders' Cup win you're in, but there's a nice one at Keeneland that might give us some answers in that race. So I think this week is more of a race by race kind of situation to study. Even more than last week. I really think we might get some answers, or at least a little bit clearer picture of what's going to happen in some of these kind of races that are up in the air.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll talk about the Classic division here in just a sec. So we pretty much have that. There is a gremlin running around. I hear it. I keep hearing it. There is seriously something happening on your end. I just want you to be aware. Like when shit now you're frozen. I mean, it's scary.
I may just get off and come back in.
No, I like it. It's fun because I do think we might see someone attack you at some point during the show. So stay tuned. But no, the Classic division, obviously, we kind of have that thing under wraps right now. But we do have a ton. We did see some massive juvenile performances last weekend. We do have one more to talk about this week. With the charity. And you look at who's won that race, Central Quality. You look at Nick Sco. You look at Maxfield. These are horses this is a race that certainly produces horses, but like you said, there's divisions like the juvenile turf, the turf sprint, the distaff. Even if you're looking for that, that horse, these are going to help kind of finalize some opinions. I feel like so. But let's talk. Yeah, keep looking. Seriously, I hopefully hopefully we just get people tuning in this whole show, just waiting to see what happens to Halterman. It's a minor distraction. It's fine. All right. So the Classic division, we don't have any Classic races, Breeders' Cup prep races to talk about. Huge show. We have 11 winning your end. One final one will be left, like I said, on Wednesday at Keeneland. The Classic division, though, it's under wraps. We've got it covered. We saw it last weekend. Nick Sco prep for that. We saw Maxfield falter. Art Collector shot up. Medina Spirit. No shocker, wins, dominates, frankly. And then, of course, we know about Hot Rod. So all of a sudden, you've got 4 horses that have legit shots, not only to win the Classic, but if Medina Spirit wins, that'd be the biggest fucked up thing ever. But at this point, like I said last week, it's like he's going to win. He's going to win this race, and he's going to go into the Classic with the big-time shot because that's so typical. All those horses have shots of Horse of the Year.
Well, I think Essential Quality as well, that not last week, but he's right up
Well,
there as
yeah, of
well.
course. Yes.
Um, I think the biggest winner from last weekend, unfortunately, was Medina Spirit, because we kind of knew what Nixco was going to do. We kind of knew that Nixco would just kind of show up and win and look impressive, and was against kind of a weak field. Medina Spirit, I mean, we both picked that horse, but it wasn't like a slam dunk at all that horse would win. He just blew the doors off of him. So unfortunately, last weekend in the Classic division, Medina Spirit is the one that gained the most traction, and that's kind of sickening.
Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see a little shot that I put together last week after the races, and I mean, here, of course, you got this is kind of the four horses that you assume will be. Here, I don't like that. Let's go back to this. The four horses that will be on the lead or on with horse of the year on the line. Of course, Knicks Go seemingly is going to be the horse to beat on the front end. You got Hot Rod, you've got Medina, and you've got Essential Quality. It's hard to say. Four horses that are either on the lead or like to be very forwardly positioned in races. So it's going to be very interesting when we hit the top of the stretch. Even after what I saw last weekend, I still have a hard time believing Knicks Go isn't the horse on the lead. And frankly, I think it begins and ends with him. I think he's the one to beat. He'll be the favorite. He kind of showed that. He almost beat the track record. It's a stakes record. Of course, the Lucas Classic isn't a long-lasting stakes race, but broke the stakes record, nearly broke the track record, and never even left first gear.
He was awesome. He's been awesome since that Prairie Meadows Cornhusker race. He's just looked like a beast, and he's fun to watch for sure. I like a horse that'll get out in front and just runs them into the ground. I think for Essential Quality fans, everybody's got to be a little bit happy that Medina Spirit actually won and looked good, because I think that's the horse, right? That's the horse that might be able to go out early with Knicks Go. And he's kind of the one that doesn't quit usually. And I think, you could say whatever you want about him, but if he can get out there and harass him, all of a sudden a horse like a Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality have a shot. I think we've seen it. Hot Rod Charlie's not going to go to the front when there's a burner out there. He's going to sit behind. And then if there isn't anybody going real fast, then he will fall on the front, and he would definitely take him gate to wire. Shouldn't be the case here. He should have a little bit of a target with those two horses going out to the front. So I think Medina Spirit's role is twofold. One, maybe he can compete after what we saw last weekend. And two, even if he can't compete, maybe he can wear down a horse like Knicks Go. I think he's your best hope at it, because I just don't think Hot Rod Charlie is going to be ridden for a lot of speed if Knicks goes out there blazing. I just don't see him going head to head with him. But Medina Spirit, I think it's possible.
The race is somewhat top heavy in a sense. It's great field, but the top side of it is much better. Obviously, anytime you're going to a race, so you can make a case for four different horses to be horse of the year, and that's the worst part about Medina Spirit. It's like this case with the by the time the Classic is ran, even frankly by the time they vote, he'll probably still be the Kentucky Derby winner, right? So you're going to sit there and have to vote on him being the Kentucky Derby winner and the Classic winner, and it gets dicey. I want to bring up the odds real quick that John sent out one of his articles from ExpressBet. Of course, John White being, if the Breeders' Cup's at Santia, he's doing the morning line, so it's not like he doesn't. I mean, he knows a thing or two about making the morning line for a Breeders' Cup. Right now, the way he sees it, and again, we're a month out, so there's still time for things to change. Obviously, if horses get injured, hopefully they don't, but that's the case. 5-2 on Knicks Go. Essential Quality 3-1. Hot Rod would be 5-1, and 6-1 on Medina Spirit. So more than fair on Medina and Hot Rod. Knicks Go. I mean, all those horses are playable. That's the great thing about the Classic or about the Breeders' Cup. So 5-2 Knicks Go, 3-1 Essential Quality, 5-1 Hot Rod, 6-1 on Medina. Art Collector, if he goes that route, 10-1. Max Player, 10-1. Maxfield, 12-1. Triple E, 15-1. Dr. Post, 20-1. Happy Saver, 20-1. Idol, 30-1. And Stiletto Boy, 30-1. Those are the horses he has. But anything that kind of jumps out to you when you kind of listen to those odds and ideas that come up as far as how you might play it?
Well, number one, John White makes the morning line for Del Mar now, so he will actually be making the morning line for the Breeders' Cup, as far as I know. I mean, he makes it for Del Mar day in and day out.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say that he did the Breeders' Cup there because I didn't know, but I imagine he will, right? I mean,
If it works like it does at Santa Anita, he absolutely will make the morning line. So I would just assume that he's going to make it. As far as what jumps out there, I don't think Knicks Go Essential Quality. I don't think you're going to get those prices on them. I just don't. I think they're going to be bet down harder than that. But I do think they'll be the 1-2 choices, and I do think it'll be like that. I think Knicks Go will be the favorite, and Essential Quality will be the second choice. I'm thinking it's probably going to be more like an 8-5, 2-1 type situation, which is being nitpicky. Obviously, 5-2, 3-1. It's not that far off. The horses that are going to have to float up are a Hot Rod Charlie and a Medina, right? Not everybody can be 2, 3-1. So I think those are the two that you're going to get your price on. And if with Knicks Go and Essential Quality, you have two ways to look at it. They're too short to play in a race of this magnitude, or I've had to choke down 2-5, 3-5 on these horses all year. Now I at least get it to where I'm going to get a little bit of a return on my money if I bet them. So I think that's the way I look at it right now. I don't think anybody in this field is going to be like even money or less for sure. But I do think 5-2, 3-1 might be a little bit of a dream as we sit here right now.
I mean, frankly, and I'll end it with this because we have a ton of races to talk about today. And we're going to rapid fire this like we did last week. No matter what, as good as our collector looked, I see 4 horses that can win this race, and that's it. Like, I don't know that if someone other than Knicks Go, Essential Quality, Hot Rod, or Medina win this race, it's rather shocking. It just is. I guess Maxfield is the only one I would throw in there, and you're going to be like, yeah, I mean, because I'm a homer. I don't think he's good enough, frankly. It'd be a little bit surprising, but if he did, it's like, well, I mean, he never runs so poorly where if he jumped up and won this kind of race, like it would be shocking, maybe not, but he'd be the one. Max Player, I guess you could make a case for Max Player. I wouldn't be as supposed. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So maybe there's 6 horses. So maybe it gets a little more interesting, especially from pace standpoint for Max Player. You know what I mean? Like say Knicks Go goes flying, Hot Rod, he goes flying, Essential Quality's right there, Medina, you know what I mean? Like you create this massively fast race and all of a sudden, here comes Max Player on the outside. So there is a case to be made. I don't think Maxfield's fast enough to close down on all 4 of those horses. Max Player, I guess, could be if it really folded.
I think Maxfield would be a fall over backwards shock at this point. And that's not really, I mean, I guess you could take that as hate for the horse, but it's just like he finished second again last Saturday. A lot of people are like, oh, he was stuck inside. And I don't want to hear that. He got loose at the straight. He had the whole stretch.
He had no excuses.
He had no excuse.
Even his trainer after the race was like, listen, we didn't have any, they didn't have an excuse there.
I don't hate Maxfield. I think he's still solid, but I don't think he's Breeders' Cup Classic material. And really, I don't think Max Player is either. But if you're going to make me take a horse at double-digit odds, that's the one I want. And do I think the horse can kind of split some of these big top 4, I should say, and maybe finish second or third? Yes, I do think that's possible. I don't think Max Player can win, but I do think he will be around with the chance to hit the board at a big price.
All right. Tons to talk about for this race as we move forward. I mean, this is the weekend, the final. We can kind of shut off the preps, and then we really dive into the analytics, the details, everything we want to look at, how we're going to play these races, how we're going to play the sequences, everything they want. Obviously, we're working on the guide already. The Keeneland guide is out right now. So, I mean, tons of work coming into this Breeders' Cup. So stay tuned for that, Bill. Let's get to today's show. We're going to preview and give picks. I think last week we did 14 maybe total, maybe like 12 total. I don't remember what it was. It was double digits. Today we're going to do 11. So we're going to do 11 different Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races for the weekend, including races from Belmont Park and, of course, Keeneland. Of course, the $750,000 Keeneland Turf Mile. That race is involved in the Keeneland Day, the highlight of the day at Keeneland on Saturday. Of course, you can get our wagering guide at racingnews.com for that as well. This is the final weekend for Breeders' Cup action, prep action. So you want to stay tuned for this. Let's go. All right. Oh man, it's like I don't know. I need it to get here now, but I don't want the Breeders' Cup to get here quite yet. But I'm ready to get into all the analytics and the details and all that stuff because it's like okay, the preps have been going since. Well, technically they've been going all year, but since May, really, for us. And it's like, all right, now I'm ready.
Yeah. No, I am too. I'm ready. I'm ready for it to get here. I feel like we've kind of had a clear vision on a lot of these for a long time. So I'm ready for it to be here for sure.
And really, I don't know. Like I wouldn't even have to have a cent on the actual classic, and I'm would be still as excited as I am for it. I mean, I just think
Yeah,
that race is going to be so damn exciting.
yeah, it's
We're gonna be there, and you're just gonna feel the buzz, the tension as it gets closer and closer, and the wait from the turf to the classic. It's gonna be the real deal.
the classic is always so much better when the 3-year-old crop is strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we have that this year. And then you mix in, damn, you got a Nick Go who's really, really good. A Max Player that's won 2 in a row. Art Collector has won. I don't know if he's going to go to the Classic or not, but you have established older and younger. That's what makes it for a great Classic.
Yeah, I mean, and you have you just every time you don't know how good they are, especially these 3-year-olds. Um, until they kind of get into a race like the classic up against whoever you have in the middle, the olders, which is this case would be like your Knicks goes and things like that. So yeah, I mean it's the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I say, I don't even need to have a cent on the race, and I will be just as jacked up as I would be if I had a live ticket. So
Yep. Yep.
cannot wait. All right, we've got 11. We're gonna kick things off at Keeneland. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, that's it. The final weekend of Breeders' Cup preps are here. Keeneland, Belmont Park, of course, Keeneland kicks things off Friday. If you're listening to this on Friday today, kicks things off with stakes action. Of course, we got some Breeders' Cup winner ends for that. Last week we did this as well, Halterman. We did 12 total races. I went through and looked at our stats. 12 starts for you, 6 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. So I had 11 starts because Anmer Hall scratched from the race. So I had 11 starts. We both had 6 winners. So I went 11, 6, 2, 1. We were both off on Grace Adler was a total disaster. And gosh, I can't remember. There was only 2 horses that you and I had off the board completely. Mine was Adar or whatever in the Arc. I mean, that was, and of course you had Tornado who finished second there. And your off the board was the Pletcher, jokester, prankster, my prankster, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah,
Jack Christopher beat the shit out
and
of.
That's completely my fault for listening to Magic.
Hey, well, that's what you get for listening to Magic. I mean, plain and simple. So,
Yeah.
but no, we have 11 more to go. So we had 6 winners last weekend. Let's see if we can keep things going here. Race 8 on Friday at Keeneland. The stall Keeneland Ogden Phoenix Stakes Grade 2 at 250K for 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. This is a Breeders' Cup winning event for the sprint. Field of 7 lines up for this one. 9-5 on Special Reserve for Mike Maker. 3-1 on Aloha West. You got 9-2 on Just Might. 9-2 on Sir Alfred James. But Special Reserve endorsed in here at 6-1, who I thought was a little interesting. But Special Reserve, the 6 horse, that's 9-5. What did you think?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say the same thing that I said before that Santa Anita race last week that was a Breeders' Cup winning year in. And I'll say before the Vosburg as well that we might talk about a little bit later. I can't remember. Is the Vosburg a winning year in? It is, right?
Yes.
Anyway.
Vosburg is a winner for the sprint as well, yeah.
We'll talk about it a little later, and I'll say it again. This is why I think Jackie's Warrior is an absolute single, because you just look at this field and it's like, this isn't anything. This isn't anything that he can't handle. I mean, not a great group. I ended up going with Special Reserve here, the favorite. Horse runs well at Keeneland. The horse has been having a fantastic year. I feel like he had the Vanderbilt in the bag and got re-rallied on by Lexingtonian somehow. But I like they kind of gave him a little bit of freshing because he had ran a lot of races in a row there that were pretty tough. Brings him back here to Keeneland. Really good spot for Special Reserve. I think if he shows up with his race, I just think he's simply a little bit better than the rest of these horses. I guess you could say, well, the gap in races, maybe he had a little issue. Maybe he's not quite right. I think he'll be fine. So I went endorsed, or excuse me, special reserved in this. Maker's got two. He's got endorsed the other one, but I went special reserved. I think he'll be pretty tough to beat here.
Speaking of endorsed, I just don't think endorsed is quite good enough, but
Well,
he's interesting for me, and I would use him if you can, because now he's with Maker. He's obviously with Mott. The horse almost won. Of course, it was a listed stakes, but a stakes race nonetheless. Just Might, a horse, is in here. This horse came rallying. I mean, this horse has every right to continue to improve. Endorsed, that is. So I think this horse, if there is a pace meltdown, this horse could be coming late, certainly in your exotics. But to me, I'm with you. Special reserve, just kind of look, even if like a horse like Just Might, who has shown speed, has been pretty good. The numbers just really don't quite match up with what the six has been doing this year. Special reserve has been very good. And like I said, still don't understand how Lexington beat them that day. It's just, you're talking about a grade one, Vanderbilt at Saratoga. The horse ran a winning race, frankly. It's just been good all year, like you said.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, you look at, he's won 4 times in 2 very close seconds.
The two seconds he got beat to Flagstaff, it was obviously very consistent, very good, and then the Lexingtonian. So even his losses
back when Flagstaff, that was like back in the spring when Flagstaff was running really well.
Yeah, exactly. So and it was here at this track, and special reserve kind of turned for home, like he had a big shot and he ran really well, and he just got beat at the end. But yeah, I mean, I get why Just Might will be on some tickets. I don't hate it. Finally get this horse on the dirt consistently. That makes a ton of sense. I just think special reserve is a little better.
The thing about like special reserve so much is not that I think, frankly, he is the fastest. I guess if the 7 goes flying for some reason, just for cheap speed, I mean, the 6 is capable of just sitting off of it, a little bit. You got Rosario to ride, who's rode this horse last time out. That's a great sign when the Rosario stays put here. And then if the horse does need to go to the lead, that's fine. If the horse needs to sit off of it, the horse can a little bit there. But frankly, the horse is just faster than the rest of them. So even if the horse is off of it very early on, I don't imagine that lasts very long. Ran at Keeneland earlier this year. Like I said, that's when Flagstaff just narrowly beat this horse. And then at this distance, 12 starts, 5 wins, and 4 thirds really as well. So this horse is always running late in these races. So I think special reserves ran too good this year not to win a race like this. So I'm with you, number 6, special reserve. All right, let's go to the next race here on the day. This is race 9, the Darley Al-Sabati Stakes, grade 1 with 400K fillies. 2-year-old going 1/16 miles. This is a Breeders' Cup winning year event for the juvenile fillies, of course. Halterman, field of 12. The screen was slow to scroll down. Field of 12 lines up for this one. And really, to me, and it came down to which Brad Cox horse do you like most, right? Juju's Map, the 1 horse, or Materia, the 7 horse. Which one did you go with?
You're right, number 1. And number 2, I went with Juju's Map. I went back and watched a lot of these horses maiden breaking wins. This was the one that I thought was the most impressive. And I know it was at Ellis, but you know what? Cox likes to keep a lot of 2-year-olds there in Kentucky and keep them close and get them ready for a race like this and a meet like Keeneland. So I don't really, hate that it was at Ellis. Once this horse got that 2-turn race, that was the second time out for the horse. Last time out, 2-turn race at Ellis, and just looked great. Beautiful horse too, by the way. The way this horse looks, I love her look. But anyway, just took to him early and got after him. Went gate to wire. It was really impressive. Now we come here. The challenge is tougher, obviously, and the post position has me worried. There's no question about that. But I think if she breaks out of there well, I think the idea will just be to send. And I think that'll be the clear instruction. And I think when you give Florent Giroux the instruction to send, as long as they break well, he'll be able to get her to the front. I think she takes them gate to wire again. I think Juju's Map is a really, really up and coming filly to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. A lot of times when you see those Liam's Maps with All Ball Family Stable, you're thinking Dale Romans, right? And now to have one like this with Brad Cox is certainly very interesting. I'm with you there. I really was between the two, and I just kind of nitpicking on which one I kind of wanted to go with here. And frankly, 4-1 seems more appealing than 5-2. And I kind of liked the way Materia broke her maiden on debut. Of course, there's another one that broke her maiden at Ellis Park. Drew probably had his choice or however that worked out. But to me, Rosario's the winner here because, and I'm the winner for picking the 7 horse with Rosario on board. So Pioneer of the Nile horse, I mean, frankly, she should get better as she continues to stretch out. She was geared down late in that race. And, it's not completely, I mean, it's a Godolphin horse. We saw what Brad did last year with Essential Quality coming into this weekend, basically.
Yeah.
With a horse named Essential Quality, with Essential Quality that was just a sprint winner, maiden sprint winner, and they came and ran huge here. British Idiom did this a few years ago, I think, in this race. So it's not completely out of the blue to just be like, well, all of a sudden the sprinter goes and wins a big time a stakes race leading up to the Breeders' Cup. So I think Materia looked too good on debut to not show up here. And frankly, I think you have the 2 and you think the 1 is going to probably go. Well, you got to imagine the 7 being a horse that I think maybe is going to enjoy the longer distance, gets to sit the trip off. Rosario sits the trip off, been working out great. So I like the 7. I mean, honestly, I think either one of these in a division that, okay. So and some of these I want to ask, what's the implications? We talked about the sprint. We're going to talk about the sprint here in a second again, but it's like the Jackie's Warrior is like, I don't know how you match up with him at this point, and he's sprint. But in this race, what do you take out of the winner of this race?
Well, the problem's Echo Zulu, right? I mean, that horse looks like one of the better fillies we've had, but doesn't it kind of feel a little bit like Essential Quality versus Jackie's Warrior at the Breeders' Cup? Like if one of these Cox horses runs a monster here and looks like a monster, and maybe that's kind of round 2 between those 2, and it's kind of very similar where the Cox horse would be coming from Keeneland and the Asmussen horse has been in New York. So
running those mile races versus the mile 16th races.
Absolutely.
And that creates we got burned last year. Let's just plain and simple by Jackie, and we were you were wrong.
And it's really incredible that we lost with a horse like Jackie's Warrior. How good that horse is. But then you go, oh wait, the horse that beat us, really fucking good too. Essential Quality still, as the year goes on, I feel less and less guilt about losing with Jackie's Warrior. But no, it does feel exactly like that. It'll be Echo Zulu's first race around 2 turns, and these Cox horses will have that under their belt. We'll see if that makes a big difference. The other piece of this puzzle, these horses have to run really well. There's no guarantees anybody's going to run a Essential Quality type race here. Okay, so that's the big thing. But yeah, I think we can see something here. We just have to watch it and analyze it as it comes, but it's not impossible that we see a big performance here.
It would have been amazing to think leaving that day after the juvenile and be like, yeah, well, we just saw the classic winner, 2 horse of the year finalists, and one of the most dominant sprinters we've ever seen. And you're like, what did you just watch? Because I thought Jackie's Warrior ran at the track.
Well, just to pile onto that, Rombauer was in that race, so we saw the Preakness winner. Essential Quality won the Belmont, the Jim Dandy, the Travelers, all that shit. I can't the race is escaping me at Keeneland. The Bluegrass in the Southwest. We saw Hot Rod Charlie. He won. Basically, he did win the Haskell, sort of, and the Pennsylvania Derby. Jackie's Warrior picks up every sprint win imaginable. I mean, it's incredible what that race produced.
It just goes to show what you don't shut off just because of a race. Frankly, that's a very generous example, but just goes to show you don't just shut off about a horse just because that they ran poorly at that in the Breeders' Cup.
Well, whatever. I think we walked into the parking lot that Friday saying Essential Quality is pretty nice. That's going to be a really nice horse. But you're right. We didn't really write off Jackie, but at the same time, it's like, well, that wasn't great. Hot Rod Charlie, I don't think either one of us, if you put truth serum in us right now, thought that horse would even win again. And then Rombauer, hell, I forget sometimes that Rombauer was in that race. So.
Well, shit. I mean, just to further that, I remember when I because I couldn't, attend this was hilarious. John still gives me shit. It's like, just proof that you never need to attend an actual draft, because I didn't attend the draft last year. Of course, win the league. I gave you my list, and Hot Rod was high on my list because, like, well, I mean, he ran well in the Breeders' Cup. He's going to run several times probably out in California. Probably pick up a few, decent seconds and thirds. Like, it's O'Neill. Like, I'm sure he'll run well. Like, you never think, like, you can't, I mean, to say that horse is even going to be a Horse of the Year finalist is just absurd. It's insane. Like, this makes no sense. So, but that's where we're at. All right. Let's go to another sprint race here. Let's go to Belmont Park on Saturday. That's race 5. And I'm trying to put these in running order throughout the day. So the Vosburg will kick things off on Saturday as far as Breeders' Cup action goes. Race 5, the Vosburg Stakes Grade 2, worth the $250K for 3-year-olds and up. Going 6 furlongs. And again, another Breeders' Cup winner in for the sprint division. And again, we talked about Jackie's Warrior being very dominant in that division. Hard to find a reason or a way that he gets beat. Field of 5 lines up here, and you've got, I mean, it's a competitive race, right? Jalen Journey at 7-2. Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda has the tied for the highest buyer of the year of all horses running, 7-5. 8-5 on Friends Fire, and 9-2 on Following Sea. And now we're at the point where you're measuring, it's like, oh, okay, well, that should just go, like, okay, if you like Following Sea here, your idea of handicapping this race is like, well, he only got beat by 9 lengths last time to Jackie's Warrior.
Isn't this a tricky little 5-horse race? Baby Yoda presents a problem because of what you said. But does one race really make a horse? No. And the other speed figures haven't really been there. Just look back at Rock Your World. If you base, his talent level off his Santa Anita Derby win, you think he's a monster. All of his other races suggest he's not. And I don't know. I'm going to try to beat Baby Yoda on the front end. That may be dumb, but I'm not totally convinced that horse can do it again. Following Sea is one I really wanted to pick because I like the price. I think 9-2 makes a lot of sense on that horse, but you're right. It's like that horse was just buried by those two last time out. Like, even if he was 3 or 4 lengths behind, maybe you think a little bit better of him. So you know what? I'm going to go with the old Belmont hand. I'm going for Enze Fire, the old Savager. Let's see if he'll try to bite somebody again and during the stretch here. Oh, yeah, Mark F. says Belmont is Enze Fire's home cooking. I think he gets the job done here.
7 wins and 11 starts at Belmont Park, 7 wins and 14 starts at this distance. Yeah, I mean, frankly, Friends Fire ran too well to, because it's always very typical. It's like, well, he doesn't like Saratoga, but he loves Belmont. Well, I mean, he ran 2 pretty good races, really, at Saratoga. Really a good one, and the last one for Go, and really, frankly, would have won the race and blew up our tickets had he not savaged Yapon, who savaged him so hard, Yapon's not even running anymore. So that's how hard
he said, piss on this after that. He's
done. Running anymore. These guys trying to bite me. No one told me this. I was just running after a run.
Yapon faked an injury after that. So
now listen, to be completely on with you. Here's how I looked at this race. I'll be honest. I threw out the 1 and 2, so it really came down to picking between as far as the winners go, top 3 or the bottom 3, 3, 5. Baby Yoda is like, go by number on the last race. This horse should air, right?
Yep.
Because, but look at the horse, 69, at least on buyer, 69, 79, 93, 114. Got to imagine that buyer moves down, right? Somewhat. And so Friends Fire, okay, let's skip Friends Fire. Let's go to Following Sea, a horse who ran top number 100 buyer in that allowance win. 3 back, I guess. I'm to the point thinking maybe this horse doesn't like, well, maybe he's just not very good. And frankly, maybe doesn't like Lasix as well either, because this horse has not ran well in 2 starts. Really 3 starts, but the last 2 starts, especially on Lasix. And you say, well, yeah, he ran better last time out in the Jerkins. Well, shit, he got beat by 9 lengths. I get it. Jackie's Warrior Life is good. Incredible horses, but 9 lengths. I mean, this horse was like he was so far back. You're like, who was that again? I don't even know who finished 3rd. Mm-hmm. Friends Fire to me is the one. It's like, I'm with you. That's what I picked. I'm like, you can lean on him because this horse is going to show up. And like, I feel like you have the experience factor going against Baby Yoda. You have the Following Sea. Frankly doesn't have a ton of heart. Isn't that great. Friends Fire is heart. He's all heart. Like, he's going to show up. And as soon as he starts biting one of these horses that get up close to him, they're going to say, fuck you. So I think Friends Fire he deserves to win this race. I think he's going to win here.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he's defending champion of this race, and he got second in it 2 years back to, can you guess who it was?
Imperial Hint.
Boom. There you go. So Imperial Hen, very good horse.
I was in Norman, Oklahoma at the football game watching that one live. It was a hell of a race.
Very close race.
Yeah, they battled. Firenze Fire did not want to let that horse win, but Imperial Hint just got the job done. I'm with you. I sunk my teeth on Firenze Fire because I don't know if I can trust old baby Yoda, and I don't know if Following Sea is really that good.
Yeah, I mean that's really really came down to is that I'm with you. Like I totally agree. I really wanted to pull the trigger on Following C because it's like, okay, you can make the excuse of, well, now he's back to a distance, now he's back to a class level, but you just can't get there. You savages.
That's
right.
I like that.
It's the one of the best races of all time. I mean, frankly, that Friends Fire was involved in. We get to see it live. It was unbelievable. All right. Let's go back to Keeneland on Saturday now. Race 7, Thoroughbred Club of America, the TCA Stakes, Grade 2, worth $250K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. This is the Breeders' Cup Win in Your In event for the filly and mare sprint. All right, let's look at this one. Field of 6 lines up here. 7-5 on your outside horse. Bell's the 1. Frank's Rocket, the inside horse, at 5-2. Another 5-2 horse. The 4 horse, Estilio Talienzo. Number 6, Bell's the 1, 7-5. Too short? Or are you going to use?
It's too short, but I'm going to use. How about that? yes, and yes. I guess is the answer. Kind of the same situation as the last race we talked about. I monkeyed around with a few of these other horses, but in the end, Bell's the 1 is the old kind of war horse, so to speak, that you can just kind of rely on and know that she's going to show up and run a good race. You look at Frank's Rocket, I think she's kind of fallen off form. Her last 2 races have not been good at all. Even though she won one of them at Prairie Meadows, she didn't run very well. Club Car, moving up in class, not quite sure. In the midst of Biz, won this race last year, kind of looks like could be loose. I don't blame you for playing that horse at 10-1 at all, but I don't trust her. I've never trusted the 4 horse at all, and I think the 5 horse is outclassed. So that left me with a 6. Bell's the 1. It is too short. It certainly is too short of a price, but I think she's the best horse in the race, plain and simple.
Yeah, I don't like this race very much at all.
No,
I agree with you. Frank's Rocket seems to be falling off just a tad here. I mean, I don't love this horse. I never have really totally loved this horse, but Bell's the 1 does seem to make a lot of sense here. You know, at this distance, 5 wins and 6 starts in 1 second. This horse runs well every time. At this distance, 6 starts at Keeneland, 2 wins, a second and 2 thirds. So it runs really well again at Keeneland as well. It just kind of the way this pace little sets up, I think you're going to have some very cheap speed that's going to be setting some. The 3 should go. Obviously, Frank's Rocket's probably going to go before they place. Like I feel like there's going to be some cheap speed, and the 6 it might go cruise by them, kind of like and make her look better than she really is. I think this is what we're going to see. You got to remember this was a horse that kind of runs well in no matter what race it is, right? Like. Yep. It doesn't matter if it's a stakes, like a listed stakes. She might barely win, or she might win or lose by a head or whatever. Then you go back to the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint. She finishes 3rd to Gamete and Zaragani Empress. Like, she's just that horse. Like, it kind of doesn't matter. The Madison, she almost wins. She runs right there in every race. So it kind of feels like she's going to show up. And in a field that I don't necessarily feel extra strong about, she's been working like a monster too. So I really think the 6 is going to be tough to beat here.
A couple people are saying that they think the 3 does have a pace advantage. And again, like I said, I agree. It just comes down to me. If they start to roll down the stretch and the 6 gets clear, I just don't think the 3 is going to be able to hold the 6 off. The talent level is too different. I think the 3 is really going to have to get away from the 6 to hold her off.
She just is too. I mean, frankly, if you're going to look too closely to her too early, like lately, you're going to say, well, she's in the same category as these horses. But you really look at what she's done. You look. I mean, this horse is a typical, very grade 1 consistent. You can see what they've done with this horse since Derby City Distaff, where she got really hammered by Gamine, Wisconsin, and Estilio Italian. So they tapped the brakes with her a little bit. They said, all right, let's get her confidence back. So then she goes and rattles off 2 wins. Really should have been 3 wins in a row, but in smaller level stakes. And then here she shows up here again in a big stakes race at a track she likes, aiming for the Breeders' Cup. So I think it's a perfect setting, set up for her, and kind of the perfect into the race that you want to see from a horse. And the talent, like, as far as I just don't think the race is that good. So I think she circles field. Number 6, Bell's the one. We're not going to do the race prior, the Woodford. Of course, Woodford is one of our favorite names for any race. But again, the wagering guide is available right now. The Keeneland Turf Mile wagering guide. Go get it at raceviews.com. It covers the entire day of racing at Keeneland on Saturday, of course, including the Woodford, every race on the card, frankly, and including all these races we're talking about right now, including the next one, the race 8, the First Lady Stakes. It's a grade 1 worth $400K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile on the turf. This is a Breeders' Cup winning her in for the Maker's Mark filly and mare turf. All right, Halterman, Althika for Appleby. Appleby may not be like automatic overseas, like where he's from, but when he has a horse here, he is automatic. 7-2 on Althika, who's not lost over here, by the way. But it's not necessarily the easiest of fields. Large field. Field of 13 lines up for this one. She's very clearly the horse to beat. And it seems like they've had their sights on the filly and mare turf all along. Are you rolling with her again? Or do you think maybe a horse like Blowout can go on the lead and maybe run, Brad's back aboard for Chad Brown, 8-1, a lot to like there. What do you think?
Blowout's one I certainly would play because I do like the pace situation. But here's the deal. Althika's had been up against it from a pace situation the last 2 races and, loose on the lead horses, and she still was able to win. So I'm going to go with her here. Listen, if you want to take a shot against her in this spot, you got plenty of choices, and I'm not going to talk you off very many of them. This is a who's who of fillies on the turf. They are all really, really good horses. But you know what? She beat a bunch of really, really good horses in the 2 races she's won in the United States, and she did it at 2 different racetracks as well. To me, if the turf is playing way to speed, maybe the 9 Blowout goes gate to wire. But if the turf is playing fair at Keeneland, I think Altika is going to get it done again here, Jared. I know this field's tough. I know 13 horses are in it. I just think she's better than this group, and I think she's proven it against 2 really, really stout fields earlier in the year in New York.
I think she's easily the one to beat. I mean, I'm not going to go as far as saying she's a single here because I do think this field is somewhat dangerous if she doesn't show up, but there's no reason to think that she won't. I mean, I've tried to beat her. I know I tried to beat her in just a game, and I think I probably tried to beat her in. No, I think I used her in the Diana. But point is, like, I learned my lesson. Like, she's here, and it's like Appleby. It's like Appleby, and this time Spencer's here with her or with him. So I mean, I don't see, I don't see how she gets beat, especially when this. I mean, you're talking. Like, if you're going to try to beat her, it's in the Breeders' Cup, right? Because then you're going 1 mile 3/8 on the filly and mare turf, and that's where maybe an area that she's not quite sure, as far as how far she wants to go. But a mile puts her, hits her right between the eyeballs. So to me, she's going to be really tough. Now, having said that, I almost picked Blowout. I think Pratt back aboard. He rode this horse to a win and almost to a win on the first start. He rode the shit out of her, and I think he's going to know the only way, shape, and form you win this race is if you just go and blaze and hope that they can't catch you. How about her or the 10 Princess Grace, who, by the way, is coming in the race with 4 straight wins and, frankly, is almost undefeated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really good. I almost think it's like, shit, Blowout is so obvious on paper that she'll probably run up the track. You know what I mean by that? Like, sometimes you see an obvious choice to the favorite and you're like, oh yeah, and everybody will get on that horse, and that 8-1 that you really like turns into like 7-2, 4-1, and then she runs like shit. She's kind of a candidate for that for me. But I still think if you're going to beat Altika, the only way you're going to do it is get out ahead of her. And so there it is with that. So Yeah, and the 10 horse, shit. I may not even use that horse, and that horse, like I said, is almost undefeated. But there's just so many good, like Regal Glory for Chad Brown. That's a really nice horse. Daddy's a Legend, really nice horse. Indy Woods running really well right now. I mean, you go up and down those. Harvey's Little Goyle. I think that horse could win. I'm not gonna be shocked if she wins at all. I think she's very competitive with this group. So there's just a ton of options you can go here. And like I said at the beginning, I'm not gonna talk you off very many of them.
What? Okay, so real quickly, we kind of skipped off to the last one. Mark, I think, had a comment. Yeah, if Bell's the one wins and Presley, we're going back to the last race real quickly. Any chance against Gamine next out? Because I wanted to ask you about the race in itself moving forward.
I'm looking for somebody to try to beat Gamine, so I hope she does win impressively. It's hard for me to say she has much of a chance at this point because we've seen her get beat by her 1,000 times, or it feels like it anyway. I know it's not that many, but she wasn't competitive with her last year. I don't know. Probably not.
Okay, and then to this race, back to the First Lady, Nick says, why are they cutting back only to go further in the Breeders' Cup? So what do you think of Althea here? Obviously, we both like her to win. Seems like a very deserving favorite, but if she wins, is she kind of you're like, all right, I'm rolling that into the Breeders' Cup. She's the pick. She can't lose. Applebee's red hot. She's 3 for 3 in the United States. Or is it like, okay, now they're going further? Mind you, she never went this far overseas. Even I mean, a mile and eight's been the tip top that she's ever ran, but she won. So what do you think?
Well, Nick's question there. I think it's a grade 1 at Keeneland and it's a prep and for the Breeders' Cup, and they're just say, hey, why wouldn't we? As far as can she compete? Sure. I'm back and forth. I don't know if she can beat like a Warlike Goddess type or not. I don't know about the distance either. Got to be a top 2 or 3 contender here if she wins again, though, right? I mean, if
Going
not,
to Vegas was very good last time out as well, or last week for this race as well, and at Del Mar.
I mean, I have a feeling she's going to kill that one. I don't like that one that well, but I mean,
didn't do it for you. Warlike Goddess to me is the one to beat there, obviously.
Yeah, just real quick, a lot of people are like Nick said, is there a chance that she could try like the Turf Mile? What if she runs the Turf Mile? I mean, that would be interesting too, right? Because that race is fairly wide open at this point. We're going to talk about a race that's an actual prep for that. Tepin won the First Lady and then won the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile. It wouldn't be the first time. That's possible.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could. I'm trying to remember this. I don't think that Appleby doesn't have any Turf Mile horses right now, does he?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Aiden's got Order of Australia, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, the point is, maybe that is, and we'll see. And that's yeah. The problem is like a mile and eighth hasn't seemed to be an issue for her. It's just she hasn't ran the distance yet. So it's just like it'd be a hard time to be like, well, unless he just completely feels she can get a mile and 3/8. But I don't see, at least in my eyes, I haven't seen that anywhere saying or showing to me that she can't. So I'd be surprised if they don't end up going that route, assuming another victory here. But in this sequence, a big field, obviously a short field in the race prior, the Charity, the Turf Mile, you can even make cases for shorter. Point is, this is one I feel like you're going to need to survive this race.
Yep.
And you got to get through this race. So go as deep as you can here. Let's go to the next one. This is race 9, the Claiborne Breeders' Charity Grade 1 with $500K for 2-year-olds going 1/16 miles. Field of 13 in here, and it is a Breeders' Cup winner in, of course, for the TVG Juvenile. I mentioned in the opening, this is a race, last year, Essential Quality won this race. The year prior was Maxfield. The year prior was Nick Sco. I mean, again, Nick Sco had a lull there that obviously has erupted since being with Brad Cox. But point is, those are 3 serious horses, 2 especially being Nick Sco and Essential Quality, your 2 favorites for the Classic this year. This is it's a stallion making kind of race. It's a legit type of race. And again, we've been seeing some good 2-year-olds. We saw some great 2-year-olds run last week at Belmont. And of course, Santa Anita. But what do you think? I mean, you've got Double Thunder. Can he do it again for Todd Pletcher? Stellar Tap. I mean, I text you and you text me when the field was out, and I text you. I was like, Stellar Tap? Like, can you believe? Like, yeah, that same Stellar Tap. The one he just ran a couple weeks ago in that same race that Double Thunder ran in, got smoked. Classic Causeway coming into this race is very interesting on the outside at 5-1. Halterman, lots of options, 13 horses, 2-year-olds. What you got?
This one will age you as a handicapper. I mean, my God, there's so many little nuances with a lot of these horses. It's like, yeah, I could see this horse jump up and run really well. And then you go to the next one, it's like, damn, this horse has a pattern where he might jump really well. Go even to Stellar Top. It's like, got his ass beat last time, but second time going long. And why is Asmussen just throwing this horse in here if he doesn't think he can do it? It's a circle race, as I call it. You just go round and round and round and round. I went all the way to the outside. Classic Causeway 5-1. I hate the post position. Number one, I'll say that. But
awful.
The horse does have early speed. Maybe Jose Ortiz can get him clear of a lot of these horses where he saves ground in the turn as much as possible. Obviously, he's not going to save ground, but maybe he's only 3 or 4 wide. I'm going Classic Causeway. This horse to me was one of, if not the most impressive maiden special weight winner in the second half of that New York or the Saratoga season up there in New York. I think he's awfully good. And I love that Jose Ortiz stays aboard here. We're going to need a great ride. And there's no question. We're going to need this horse to break well. There's no question about that. He's hung way wide. That's going to be a problem. But I think he's going to get the job done here. I think he's awfully good.
So Stellar Tap being in this race is a problem for a few reasons. One, I like the horse too much, and so I want to pick him. 2 is I think if there's any excuse you can come up with in the last one, it's like Santana should never have set off. Just should have kept going with the horse, because as soon as the horse, like he got the horse pulled back a little bit, the horse just didn't really run great. I think this horse flies. Like I think there's like he ran September 18th. He just ran in the Iroquois, and now here he shows up. He's very had all the right to just say, okay, I think he's a great horse. I think he'll be a really good 3-year-old. Let's take our time with Stellar Tap. Instead, he shows up here in this kind of race. So you got to take note of that. I think he flies. I think he causes an issue for anyone that wants to try to get to the lead. With that said, I'll be using him, by the way. I have to say that. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I can't believe it. I went to all the way outside because, listen, Classic Causeway was awesome on debut at Saratoga. The numbers show it. Put up a 90 buyer that day. And the biggest thing for me that kind of pushed me over the edge, well, there's 2. 1, terrible post position, Jose stays board. 2, the horse that he beat on that debut, I don't know the name of it. Point is, the horse came back to win and ran an 81 buyer in that winning effort. This horse beat that horse that day by 6 lengths. That horse came back to win and put up an 81 buyer. Take a look, peruse around the field. 81 buyer wins this race. Okay, so the point is, other than of course the 13, the point is, as good as Stellar Tap was on debut, 78 buyer. And again, buyers aren't everything. I get it, but there is some back class to go off of a horse, the 13 horse, who's only ran once. So I like the 13. The problem is you got to get the start. You got to break. How much energy is it going to take to get him from the 13 post into a position, especially when you got to assume, at least for a lot of strides of this race, the 13 will be behind Stellar Tap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I just think the 13, as long as we can get over and not be 6 wide in that first turn, he's going to be awfully tough. He also has a pedigree that says we can stretch out and it's not going to be a problem. A lot of these do, though. That's the thing. You're seeing some really nice pedigrees in the spot as well. So, listen, one more thing I want to bring up, and I don't know if I told you this after the race or I just said it out loud to myself like a maniac and kept on going with whatever I was doing, but I agree with Nick Feldman comments. Stellar Tap just looked like he had a horrible day last time he ran. I remember thinking to myself, he never for 1 second looked comfortable. he almost looked like he was tied up in knots when he was running. And then he kind of finally got into stride, but he was throwing his head around like he wanted to go. I agree, Nick. I thought Stellar Tap just looked like a mess the whole way around that track that day.
He never looked in a position that he like, especially, and I think part of it is that I think he wants to run, like,
Mhm.
and once he kind of, when Santana like stopped him, and then he went, and then by the time he went, then he never looked comfortable. So I think that's why you're going to see he's going to let him fly here, and I think Steve's probably thinking, well, he didn't run much in that race, right? So we might as well run him again. I guess another option is something happened, he bled or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. He probably didn't bleed, but something happened maybe where he felt like, okay, let's give him another shot.
How about this comment right here? Night racing.
No, I agree with that.
Night racing for 2-year-olds in a big field going 2 turns for the first time. This horse just may have been a lunatic in that race, just may have lost his mind a little bit there. By the way,
no matter what, there's no out. He definitely learned something from the race.
Yeah.
You know that.
This horse is a tappet. Most of them are a little bit goofy, so definitely could be an issue. We'll see here.
Got to use him, and he still has the right to run a huge race. And frankly, okay, so we saw Jack Christopher, who looked awesome last week in the Champagne. Of course, we know the Corniche. We know what that's about out on the West Coast. He'll be dangerous, of course, for Bob Baffert. So what room is left, I guess, into the TVG juvenile? What room is left for there to be another horse, the winner of this race, to jump in the mix and say, okay, they can compete as well?
I think there's room. I think it can happen. I really believe we could see something pretty good here, and it could jump into the picture. I'm not quite as confident in these 2 male horses, that the big victors last weekend, as I am of like Echo Zulu on the female side. She just looks like a monster. But those horses were obviously very, very good. But listen, this race has produced so many nice juveniles over the years. I believe we still could see one come out of here and play a factor at the Breeders' Cup. I think this race has a shot to produce something decent.
I agree. I think it should, right? There's plenty of horses, there are plenty of good trainers, good horses in here. I think no matter who wins, they're at least going to be a factor on the at the Breeders' Cup. All right, let's go to race 10. The next one up at Keeneland, the Keeneland Turf Mile, of course, the main event, Grade 1. We're $750K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile on the turf. Again, it's Breeders' Cup winning your event for the FanDuel Mile at the Breeders' Cup. Halterman field, another huge field here of 13. 9-2 on Something Like a Hot Brown. 7-2 on Order of Australia. Of course, the horse that won the Breeders' Cup last year. Pixelate at 9-2. Avar, winner of this race last year at 5-1, but very lightly raced since. Space Traveler at 6-1. Tell Your Daddy at 8-1. So it's a huge field. But how many of these horses have a legit shot to win?
I don't think very many of them do, honestly. This one was a huge field where I thought you could narrow it down to 3 or 4. Where the last race, I thought, well, you could make a case for 8 or 9 of them. With this one, isn't Order of Australia a little bit better horse coming over here this time than he was last time? I mean, I think he is. He's been running competitively in Group 1 races all year long, where last year when he came over here, he hadn't even really been in a Group 1. I think Order of Australia is a better horse than he was this time last year. I think he comes over here and wins again. I'm not going to sit here and say that this one was easy to get to or like romp. Pretty quickly, I looked at this field and thought, well, shit, he should probably win here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember his horse. I mean, he won the Breeders' Cup Mile last year at Keeneland, of course, same track we're talking about here, at 73-1. So, like you say, it wasn't like, I mean, this horse was coming into the race having gotten beat by 47 lengths in the race prior. You're right. I mean, he was awful, beyond awful. Well, he wasn't great after a couple races after, but then the horse won a Group 2. Then the horse, ran okay in a Group 1. The Qatar Sussex 6 got third in a Group 1. Came back last time out, at Longchamp, finished second in a Group 1. So it's like he's obviously getting much, much better. He's coming to this race. John Velasquez jumps aboard here for Aiden O'Brien. Listen, there's a reason why he's here, right? They're prepping for the Breeders' Cup. The horse ran really well at this track when he came over here overseas. I'm with you. You kind of look and it's like, I mean, Ivar to me is the only other one that I liked that I really want to use, and I had to make a decision because Ivar, mile and eighth could make, that's not maybe his game there. Comes back off of a layoff again, hadn't been seen since the Breeders' Cup. Every right to improve from that. I think Ivar is super dangerous. I think it's those two. I mean, I just don't see a lot in here. Something like a Hot Brown hasn't been. Like he's been okay. I'm playing against here. I don't think he matches up with some horses like it that are in here. Diamond Oops, no thanks. Monarch's Glen, no. Brown Storm, no. Pixelate, no thanks. I mean, Ivar to me, I think Space Traveler might be someone to use.
Yeah, I like him.
I could see that. Ran a really good Wood by Mile to finish second there to Town Cruise. But still, like, I don't know, like Raging Bull sucks, and you beat him, but I don't know. Like, to me, it just or Australia, that horse seems to be the one to beat. Yeah, Joshua says you like Oops as well. I don't get it. I don't like Oops. I don't. This one, I don't know what they're doing with this horse. Like, pick a freaking surface and run them on it, but this horse runs everywhere. All right.
I never know when Diamond Oops is going to do his thing and when he's not.
I'm frozen.
You are frozen.
Am I frozen? Hang on. Watch.
Yes, you are frozen. Oh,
there we go.
You're back.
No?
Okay.
But I'm still frozen.
Yes, you are. Am I frozen?
No, you're good. That's super weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to guess if my internet's much better than the internet you're using right now.
If you want to, I will entertain the people and you could exit out and come back in. It's up to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This is everybody's worst fear. I'm alone in the room with everybody. Yeah, to talk about the Diamond Oops thing real quick for just a second. It's a situation for me. I just never get this horse right. And so if I think the horse isn't going to run very well, probably going to run well on Saturday, but I don't know. I would like him better in the sprint in the Woodford a little bit earlier on the card. I don't know about the mile. Yeah, we'll see though. And Josh says he's like Bango. I never know what I'm getting from that horse either. Every time I'm on him, he sucks. Every time, I'm not, he'll run well. So it's definitely, he's a frustrating one. Nick says, don't forget the Diamond Oops took second in this race in 2019. Good point. I mean, was it this one or was it? Yeah, it was this one. It was this one. Yeah. Very good point. Jared, are you back?
No, I'm frozen. I'm still frozen. Can you hear me though?
Oh yeah, I hear you just fine, but you are
so weird.
Frozen. Yeah,
it's so weird.
I can hear. I mean, you're clear as day, like you're here with us. So
that's super weird. Yeah, I got out of it completely. Don't know.
Well, you'll just be frozen for the folks. You got a good picture there, so.
Oh, I know. I'm thinking. I'm very.
Yeah.
I actually don't have any clothes on currently, so that's perfect for the situation that we're sitting here as well.
Let's hope it doesn't come back.
All right. Well, you're just gonna sit there and look at me that way then. Yep. Let's bring up. I think we're gonna go to.
This makes with you being frozen. This makes me think the Gremlins may have been on your end.
Maybe I've been hearing them on my end. That's been the issue. Yeah.
Because the weird thing is, and of course, if the Gremlins were on my end, I probably couldn't hear them, but I've never heard of anything. So.
Well, it's super weird because I'm like I say, my internet is very strong, so I don't understand, but they're obviously up to something over this way.
Well, as you're scrolling through this, I mean, the page is loading in no time, so it's obviously not an internet thing. I don't know.
Damn Gremlins.
I
wonder if I can stop my. Can I still talk and stop my My screen.
Yeah, the camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just turn off your camera.
Yeah.
Do that. Oh, maybe not. Now he's disconnected. Oh, there you go. Okay.
There we go. So you just look at magic now. So I'll jump it on every once in a while and see if it's back on.
Okay. This is great.
Jeez. Okay, let's go. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Sunday. Let's go back to Belmont Park. Race 5 Charity Stakes, Grade 3, worth $150K for 2-year-olds, going 6 furlongs on the turf. This is a Breeders' Cup winner event for the Juvenile Turf Sprint. Halterman, field of 8 lined up for this one. We don't have odds yet, given that it's Thursday night for Sunday racing. Don't have odds yet, but a couple fillies in here. Wesley Ward says, I don't care. I'll bring a few fillies into this race. We're going to talk about Wesley Ward a few times here coming up. Chi-Town Lady, John Velasquez, Wesley Ward, and then the 8-horse, Poppy Flower, Jose Ortiz, Wesley Ward. I don't know about you, 2-year-old turf sprinters. You're going somewhere, Wesley Ward. I know you are.
I went with Chi-Town Lady last time, and she didn't let me down. I'll go right back to her. We've seen this trend. It started at Belmont Park in the meet, or that had been the summer meet, I guess. It started there where John Velasquez would always get on Wesley Ward's best. He's on Chi-Town Lady here. I'll kick off the Sunday action with Chi-Town Lady in the spot.
Yes, sir. Me too. You didn't see it because you can't see me right now, but I was pumping the air because when you said Chi-Town Lady, I'm like, that's my girl. So yeah, I'm with you. She's undefeated. I love the fact that he's like, I don't care. Like, I'll bring some boys in here. I like her more than I like Poppy Flower. And frankly, Chi-Town Lady's just been really good. Chi-Town Lady on debut was really good. Then on the second start in the Bolton Landing, missed the break and still came flying. Like, was really, really strong. I think this horse can do both. I think she's so talented that she can go beyond the lead or off the lead. So I love the fact that he brings her in here. I'm with you. I went with number 5, Chi-Town Lady as well. Halterman, we're going to talk 3 of the 4 next 4 are going to be juvenile type races, turf sprints, turf. So what in the division that you're very much still trying to figure out, how serious are you about if she wins here?
Serious, I would say, because I'm trying to find out who's going to be here. I put One Timer as the pickup. You're back. Look at this. You're moving.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We can see it. I put One Timer.
I put my clothes back on.
Yeah, well, thank God. So One Timer last week, I put that horse as the pick because the win in the speakeasy. But yeah, I'm going to take these races Sunday very seriously because I just don't have a clue yet.
Yeah, Nick asked, and that is like the concern, right? Chi-Town Lady, do you have any concerns that, and we'll talk about this situation as far as track goes, but her turf win, debuted on the dirt, comes back on the turf, on a yielding turf surface, finally going to get a fast turf, you would think. Any concern at all?
No.
Yeah, I don't either, but I had to put it up. I don't think there's any concern as well, because like she went from dirt to turf, no matter what it was, yielding turf, and still ran really, really well. So I don't necessarily, and you have, it's Wesley Ward. This guy, this is what he does.
I don't worry about shit I don't know. And if this horse had a bad race going on the firm turf, then yes, I would be worried. But
you should make a quote for that. I don't know. I don't worry about shit I don't know. Yeah. Nick,
I don't worry about much.
Nick said, "Yeah, I say your mind is free." Nick says, "I think Averly Jane running at Keeneland this weekend is one to watch as well." Hey, what do you know? We're going to talk about that one right now, and that's a horse that I'm with you. Race 8, the Indian Summer Stakes at Keeneland on Sunday as well. $200K for 2-year-olds, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. Field of 10 lines up for this one. Again, no odds out still. Wesley Ward has some fillies over in New York. He also has some over here at Keeneland, including the 7-horse Averly Jane. Dude, I know. I'm almost positive you're picking this horse because I know you like her.
I'm picking Averly Jane to win this race at Keeneland. Yes.
Yeah, I agree, and I am too because I like her as well.
This horse was an absolute monster in the last race. should get the job done here. I mean, I'm not too worried about it even. I think this horse gets it done, and I think it's pretty easy.
So here's my theory: is you got two races, one at Belmont, one at Keeneland. Both are Breeders' Cup. Sorry, this was the Indian Summer was for a juvenile turf sprint as well. So both for the juvenile turf sprint. Wesley Ward obviously has multiple entries in each one. Averly Jane to me is like he ain't, if whoever's going to win that New York race, like he's not one to face against this horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Averly Jane to me, this horse has been dominant. Now they tried her on turf the last time out, it got rained off. Obviously it was went off of the turf, so they didn't run the turf. So now the horse is trying turf for the first time. Is there any concern?
Well, there's a little bit of concern on that one because it is a surface. But again, I don't worry about shit that I don't know.
Again, first time turf with Wesley Ward, 21%. Gaffleon has ridden this horse the last two efforts. So, I mean, he knows the horse. This horse is won by 8 3/4, 3 1/4, and 7 1/4.
And another thing, Wesley Ward and a lot of other people are a lot smarter than I am. So they tried to get this horse on the turf last time. Now he's trying to do it again. So he obviously thinks the horse can run on it. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. And he obviously has a ton of other horses that he can run in these races. He has another one entered here. So the fact that she's in tells me that he believes this horse can certainly run on the turf. So I'm not too worried about it.
I don't know who it is. And Averly Jane Jeff certainly seems like a horse that she runs like she's been running on the dirt side, is going to have her name thrown into the mix. But I feel like we're still waiting for that. Well, we're not waiting. We know we don't have like the Golden Pal type of horse, but maybe one of these Wesley Ward horses jumps up the last minute and says, okay, you can count on me. I'm going to try to run big. Right.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right about that. Yeah.
I think that we've been lacking it. Maybe in the final hour, we see some Wesley Ward love for one of these turf sprints. It gives you something to go off of.
Yep. I agree with that.
Let's go to the Distaff race 9, the Judnaught Spinster, grade 1 with 500K fillies and mares. 3-year-olds and up, going 1/1/8 miles. Field of 7 lines up for this one. The 4-horse, too many still believe this horse has Horse of the Year written all over her. Latruska. Latruska is going for, what is this? Latruska is looking to win, 5 in a row now for her. Including 7 of the last 8 if she wins here, I believe, or she's won 7 of the last 8. Will win 7 of the last 8. Latruska, Purcell Ensign, Fleur de Lis, Ogden Phipps, Apple Blossom. She's been dominant all year. Irad Ortiz. She seems like the speed is speed. Like, it definitely seems like as close as we can come to like a workout type of race. Do you think she has any competition here?
Man, I really want to pick against her. I really, really do, but I just don't see a horse that can beat her with this pace setup. I mean, it just looks like she's so the lone speed. She should get a much better or much easier trip, I should say, than what she got last time out. It's a smaller field as well. I think they're running for second. I'm going to go Latruska. I still want to beat this horse at the Breeders' Cup, but I don't think it's going to happen here. I think she gets the job done, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's fairly easy.
Yeah, you look at, the Purcell Ensign. She was awesome, but she ran fast early on, and then you look at some of these races. She's always on early, but it's like the Bonnie Souths and the Evitante, and in this case you've got Dunbar Road. It's just Crystal Ball, I guess, is a little more forwardly placed, but those other ones, it's like, they kind of feel like the horses that are going to be coming up late. Like, they're not going to keep up with her early on. We know this. And then one of them will make a little bit of a run for it, but she just seems like, her getting beat here would be hard to believe. Now she's rattled off 4 straight bullets, including 2 really good bullets last time out. Well, last time I was going 5 furlongs. You're going to try to we're going to have a conversation about this, come Breeders' Cup, because I get it. We're going to try to beat her. I'm with you. I'm on the bandwagon, but we're going to have, I don't know what horse we're going to get to beat her. That's my problem.
That's the problem. Exactly. Dunbar Road was a horse I almost picked here, but it's like, you stupid idiot. If Dunbar Road could not beat this horse last time out with that setup, And the way she turned for home and it looked like the Dunbar Road was going to go right by her. How in the holy ass hell is she going to beat her here with this setup? I said that would be that's a play that people on Twitter would do that think they're real smart, and they've bet Dunbar Road for 3 years now and that got no wins, And I'll try her again. I just don't think Dunbar Road is good enough.
I mean, Bonnie South would be the ultimate win here because she almost beat her. She ran a great race last time. Give her that. She ran, like, way better than she usually runs. Yeah, and Nick's made a couple of comments here. This has been a very, very, Spencer's a very good race. And he's right. Yeah. Valens came out of this race last year, ran a really good second to Monomoy Girl. Blue Prize won this race, won the distaff in an upset. I believe that was, what year was that? That was like 2 years.
And Anita.
She won the race 2 years in a row, but which was it, 18 or 19 she won? I think it was 18 that she won.
I can't remember.
I don't know. Someone can comment on that. But she won went on to win the distaff the same year as well. So yes, it is a productive race. I agree. I'm a Chatterbox, I believe, won this race 1 year, and I don't know if that was the same year. Did she win?
I don't think Chatterbox. I don't think she won at the Breeders' Cup, did she?
Did she not? She didn't. No. Yeah, it was 19 that Blue Prize the last year for, I guess, her last career. She won this race, and then she went on to win, of course. I'm a Chatterbox did not. She finished 5th the same year she finished 1st in the Spencer. So, point is, it's Latruska. Now, let me ask you this, because when I put out, I think I put them out on Twitter last week or earlier this week, I don't remember, and about horse of the year and how the classic, we're going to have all these horses run for the horse of the year in the classic. Some people are like, Latruska, what about Latruska? So if Latruska wins here, she'd have to win here, obviously, and then wins the distaff, is there any case? I mean, I guess if the 4 horses, one of the top 4 horses, like say if Max Player wins the classic and Latruska wins here and wins the distaff, can she be horse of the year?
No, I don't think so. Even if Max Player wins, I don't think she can. I think it would take a win in the classic. Now, if she won the classic, yes, I think she'd be a shoe-in. But I think for a female to win horse of the year, most of the time, you got to beat the males at least once.
Okay, so I kind of set you up. So if that's the case, she wins here, and you have one race left. That's it. One race, and you are the horse of the year. Because if you win this race and you win the classic against the field that we have in there, then there's, like you say, there's no debate. So do you run her in the classic?
The problem, I get the argument. I don't think it would be terrible to do it. The problem is she's never won a Breeders' Cup race. So if she was mine, I would go to the distaff and try to get that Breeders' Cup win. If it was a Monomoy type situation where we've been there, done that at the Breeders' Cup, then I would try it. But with Latruska, you know what? We're not big owners here. These people are not like, this is not the high profile guys or gals.
Right.
I think the more conservative approach, I think the more logical approach, let's try to go win a Breeders' Cup race. That's still a very, very big deal to win a race like the distaff. I would go there.
I agree. I mean, this, you gotta remember, like, this horse what this horse has been able to do has been awesome. It's not like, like you say, if it's a Monomoy, replace her with Monomoy, you know what I mean? Like, then you're like, you're going into this race to say, hey, it's the last race. You might as well run the classic. You've already won the distaff like 10 times. You might as well try to run and win in the classic. That's what but with her, I get it. Like, it's still, and you could still argue. Yeah, I'm with you. I do tend to agree, but you could still argue you still have a shot at horse of the year if you win the distaff. Assuming what we go crazy in the classic, it'd have to. But again, you would still have a shot. You could go, you could go rattle off a big streak or whatever. And I think, to me, I would do that.
And if I'm an owner and I'm different from a lot of people because I'm too close to racing, I don't give a one fuck about winning horse of the year. Not even a little bit would I care about winning horse of the year or any Eclipse award of that for that matter.
I think you would care.
No.
I think you would. I think you're just a mean fan right now.
No, I know what those can constitute, and I think they're meaningless. So I don't
And
care.
as well as who votes for them. All right, let's go to the final race that we're going to talk about. Race 10 on Sunday at Keeneland, the Castle and Key Bourbon Stakes, Grade 2. $200K for 2-year-olds going 1 1/16 miles on the turf. Breeders' Cup winner in for the juvenile turf. I know you got your eye on a horse already, so I'm not going to ask you yet of what you think of this field as far as moving forward. But field of 14 with 2 also eligibles as well, so it's a massive field, wide open. I don't even know where to start with this one because not only the horses that have so much to prove, they're 2-year-olds lightly raced going distance on the turf. You just I have no idea where you even go. Like, how is there anyone that stands out for you? Obviously, Heaven Street is very interesting. It's a lot in here that you don't. Red Danger is interesting for Lynch. I mean, but again, like you almost want, if you're gonna, you want to be able to survive and get into this race and just have so many options.
This is a mess. This race is a complete mess. I haven't looked at the other races around it too much as far as multi races. I certainly Latriska is probably going to be the single in this sequence, but I haven't looked at the other race before the stakes. Anyway, that's a different subject. But here, yeah, I got to go really deep. What about the 13 Lucky Boss? That's who I ended up landing on, and I kind of hate myself for it. I thought it was interesting, though, that McPeak gets Irad to ride here. I thought that kind of jumped off the page at me. McPeak tried to get this horse on the turf 2 races back. It got rained off, but then the horse still wins on the dirt. Last time out, they move it up to a stakes race there at Ellis on the dirt, gets second. But I really think the horse needs 2 turns. And I don't know. I think the horse might need the turf based on what McPeak tried to do. I'll give this horse a shot. I thought picking up Irad Ortiz and the fact that I think this horse might be double-digit odds in a completely wide open race, I will give the 13 Lucky Boss a shot here.
What's really sad about this race is, you know how hard it is that you and I both in a very deep field went with McPeak horse, and we went with different McPeak horses. So
Yeah.
that's how you know it's that kind of field. I went with the horse just to his inside, the 12 horse Tiz the Bomb. You know, the horse that really looked really good on the turf on debut turf at Kentucky Downs last time out. This is a horse that's a big time purchase, $330K purchase for Phoenix Thoroughbred, sired by Hit It a Bomb, who, by the way, won the juvenile turf. So this is a horse obviously that's got expectations, and I think in this situation, you're talking about a horse that Brian Hernandez literally rode every race that either one of these horses have ever ran in. So and he rides for McPeak all the time. So he picked which horse he was going to ride. Tiz the Bomb. Now, granted, you're right. Irad Ortiz is shit. That's a hell of a prize for not, for the horse he didn't pick, right? I mean, if anything else, might be an addition. So I'm with you, but I do think Tiz the Bomb. But to your point, Tiz the Bomb is probably gonna be like half the price as Lucky Boss. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna put just notify something here. If this horse is like hammered, I do not play McPeak at a low price. So I just refuse to do it. I don't do it. It's just something I live by. I don't do it. So if this horse is hammered, forget it. I'd rather play Lucky Boss. So I don't have odds. So I can't play. I don't know what the odds will be. But if Tiz the Bomb is somewhat of a price, which I doubt will be, play Lucky Boss maybe.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's why I picked Lucky Boss. I think it'll be the higher price McPeak. So
now you don't. I'm sure you don't. I mean, you love it in Annapolis, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as this race producing like a Breeders' Cup horse,
hard to believe.
It is. I don't think that race is just like a slam dunk for anybody. Even though I do like Annapolis, and I still have that horse on top for that race right now, it could go. I mean. It would be a shock if somebody really jumped up and ran. Well, these horses don't look very good to me on paper, but it's very early. A lot of them, we don't quite know exactly what they are yet. So we'll see, but I'm not like chomping at the bit to watch this race on Sunday.
No, Like, it's gonna be like, okay, Latruska ran, she won. Okay, well, I'll turn it off. I'll just see who won that race later.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I don't need to know. All right, so that's a wrap. All 11 Breeders' Cup races on Sunday. Now, the final one is going to be on Wednesday, October 13th. It's Juvenile Phillies Turf, the Jessamine. So really, this is it. After that, it's game on. It's all hands on deck. Breeders' Cup is the next big one. We're a month away. We're less than a month away. Actually, it's the 5th and 6th of November. So we are less than a month away to the Breeders' Cup. The final weekend of preps. Here they are. Oh man, that is, people don't realize. I mean, that's a lot of talking to talk about all those races. I'm ready for I'm ready to get over these Breeders' Cup prep. Shit.
Hey, I had Ricky to start this morning. And Ricky, by the way, Ricky hit the pick 4 at Belmont for over $400. So you want to tune in Friday to see if we can win all 3 days, because we had went on Remington too. Yeah, I saw this comment. Great comment.
I agree. I couldn't agree more, Mark.
But Ricky went on some weird thing at the end. I literally had to cut him off and end the show because I didn't even know what he was talking about. Then I had Papa Dude on OU Texas weekend, and now this with 11 Breeders' Cup preps. So it's been a long day of shows, longer than a normal Thursday even.
I can only imagine. I saw you guys, had the whole setup for OU Texas big weekend. You're going, right?
No, nope. I'm right here. I'm in New York until I don't come home till Sunday. So
when was the last time you met? How long? How many years have you gone in a row to that game?
Well, I missed last year because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
But before that, it's probably been 2015. I don't think we got to go to that one for some reason. But yeah, it's been a while. But I screwed up. I thought we were coming up here the week after, and so I didn't think anything of it. And then I looked at the calendar and was like, well, shit, I messed that up. So my dad's going, but I'll be here.
See what happens with the old Rattler. All right. It's all the time we have. Check us out at racingnews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing News Premium button at the menu at racingnews.com to learn more. Remember, go get that all-inclusive 10-page wagering guide to the 2021 Keeneland Turf Mile on October 9th. That's, of course, this Saturday at Keeneland. Features in-depth analysis of all 5 stakes on the card, 4 of which are crucial Breeders' Cup winner-in events. For the Breeders' Cup World Championships, we just got done talking about those. Get more information on how we're exactly Halterman, how we're going to play these on the day. The entire card, you can tell the entire card is unbelievable, top to bottom. Make sure you check that out. Put you race by race analysis, space suggestions, and multi-race plays for the entire card. And now is the perfect time to subscribe. Subscribe to Racing Dudes Premium. Any of our you subscribe for a monthly pass, $70 gets you premium picks for the month, everything you want with $70. You get this wagering guide, and you get the Breeders' Cup wagering guide for free. Because if you are an active subscriber, you get those guides completely free. So one is 40, one is 30. What's that equal? 70. You're getting 2 guides. What you would normally spend just by 2 guides, you're getting a whole month of picks as well. So plenty of time to pad that bankroll in the month leading up to the Breeders' Cup. RacingNews.com is your destination site for all free horse racing picks. And, of course, free sports picks. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen on, I forgot. I changed all that because Magic got on to me because he's like, oh, you're not on SoundCloud anymore. And I'm like, well, shit, you're right. And then Paul jumped on my ass about it last time about, you gotta find a new editor if you guys can get it right. So, we are on all these different, we're on the podcast page at racingnews.com. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Stitcher. We're on Captivate. We're on all of them. Wherever you want to listen to your freaking podcast, we're on it. Halterman, final thoughts. OU Texas. What are your thoughts on the weekend of sports?
Yeah, I went Texas plus the 3. I think it'll be a close game. I could see it going either way. A lot of mystery with both teams. I think it'll be a good one. I am going to take the Longhorns plus the 3 there. I think it's a good weekend for sports as well. I think Auburn plus 15.5 over Georgia. I like that as well. I think Auburn will keep it a little bit closer with the game being in Auburn, but it's going to be a big weekend. Obviously, the OU game means a lot to me. You can listen to Dudes Who Bet Sports. We talk about it and a lot more on that show. By the way, Papa Dude and I both believe Kansas City will win by double digits Sunday night against the Bills, Jared. So there's that.
I think you guys maybe were high or you were drinking during I think that's an awful pick.
You think the Bills will beat them?
I don't know they'll beat them, but a double digit. The Chiefs they've won like they've won one game by like more than 6 in like a year and a half. I mean, yeah. I just don't think they're gonna get. I think this game is gonna be close. Their defense is so atrocious. But Bills can run on them. Bills. I mean, I just feel like the possessions will make it to where this game is going to be somewhat close. Now, what's the line? I think it's like 2.5 or 3 something. Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2.5 is where it's at. It depends on where you get. If it's 2.5, I take the Chiefs to cover -2.5. I think. But you guys think you're going to win by double digits? I hope you're right. But shit, man, I think that's dicey.
We just feel like Sunday night, Arrowhead Stadium, the Chiefs turned the ball over 4 times against the Chargers versus 0 turnovers for the Chargers, or they would be 3-1. And the Chargers are a pretty darn good team. And you still turn it over 4 times, and they don't turn it over at all, and you still could have beat them. As long as the turnover margin is similar in this game, we think the Chiefs are going to flex their muscle.
Well, I mean, if you want to go if, ands, and buts, I mean, Chiefs could be hit 4-0 very, very easily. So, I mean, that's the case, but still, I mean, that's also the case, right? They find ways to to not play well, I feel like. So
I just bet you if the turnover margin is equal, you're very happy Sunday. I think the Chiefs will have to help the Bills for the Bills to win the game.
No, I agree. If they can play, being at Arrowhead Sunday night prime time, I mean, hell, you and I were together the last time that they did that in the AFC Championship last year, and they completely dominated the Bills. Now, granted, different circumstances, different team.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I agree. I understand your logic. I hope if they do win by double digits, they shut up everybody, frankly, because the Bills, to a lot of people, are the number 1 team in football.
The good news is, as long as you think the Chiefs are going to win, they're a very safe bet at the -2.5. It's not very likely they win by 1 or 2, right? So
right.
That was our other thing.
A field goal. If you can get -2.5, I mean, to me, even a last-second field goal, you cover.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel pretty good about them covering. Maybe they don't do double digits. I think they're going to win, and I think if they win, they cover. So, yeah.
I do know one thing.
Huh?
The one thing I do know is that I don't care. It doesn't matter. You ain't stopping the offense. Like, I don't care how good you think the Bills' defense is, and that's irrelevant to me. Like the Chiefs' offense, we've proven no matter how good the defense we play, like, we're gonna find ways to score. Other than the Super Bowl, you're gonna have it's the defense. The defense is clearly the Achilles heel on the team right now. But no. Hell of a Sunday night game. Hell of the NFL schedule is really good. Some good games this weekend. Hopefully Baker can find a way to make a pass to Odell at least one time would be great. But hey, he's played the torn labrum, so I mean that must be the reason. So we'll see.
That's the thing. Like Ricky was going on this tangent about. I hate when they say a guy's hurt and then he plays bad after 2 weeks, and that he's hurt. Well, it's like, number one, Ricky, if a guy is hurt, they're not going to say it. Like, they want to keep that private. And number two, Mayfield said it's not an excuse. Yeah, it's he's hurt, but it's not any excuse whatsoever. That was like, he just kept going on and on about it. I'm like, why do you care about this? Like, the Browns said it's not a big deal. Mayfield says it's not a big deal. The world doesn't revolve around you knowing why a player is not playing well or not. Like, why do you take time talking about this? I'm with you. I don't care about if he's hurt or not. He's playing like shit. And if you're hurt so bad that you're missing throws that he's missing, get out of the game. And that's, I don't give a damn if it's my favorite football player or not. If you're playing like that, get out of the game.
It was he was really bad. Really bad last week. Really bad. Just missing some. I mean, missed that. What was it? Probably a 60-yard touchdown to Odell late in that game that would have sealed the game right there. All right, game's on. We got to watch some Seattle
Yep.
LA Rams going on right now at Seattle, so it'll be a hell of a game. Good Thursday night games have been lately. So, all right. Go tune in the Magic Mike show. They did the late pick 4 at Keeneland on Saturday as well. So you want more information about how they played that Keeneland late pick 4, go tune into the Magic Mike show. You can check them out, of course, on all those same podcast platforms. And if you want more sports picks, Dudes Who Bet Sports, look those up as well on all the same platforms. All right. Halterman, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend. See you guys.